All right. Welcome, everyone. Calling to order the meeting for July 8th of the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force. Let me just go through and make sure I've got everyone. Let's see, I've got Scott, I've got Ron, I've got Jim Motivali, I've got Mary, I've got Bill Levy, I've got Larry Cayley. Who did I miss? That's a member, and then we'll go to
Jim Marin.
Jim Marin, I've got Jim Marin, okay.
Peter Krause.
Peter,
Becky.
Becky, thank you. Any other members? All right, and then from the public, I have Emma Kay, Dustin Mandre, Mike Foley, Joan Zimmerman, and there's a couple other folks, Teresa Andres.
Hi.
Andres?
Yes.
Hey, Teresa, can you just introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Teresa. I'm a student at Bowdoin College, and I'm just interested in environmental studies and the Sustainable Task Force. So I was hoping to sit in on the meeting today.
Perfect.
Are you going back to Maine this fall?
Unfortunately not to campus, but I'm going to be with some of my friends in Maine. So I'll be close to campus, but unfortunately all our classes are online.
Right.
All right, and then Alay?
Leith Fatherly.
Alay?
Yes, I was invited by Mary. I'm also on the Economic Development Committee with Fairfield Town Hall. And this conversation I got weaved into this meeting because I started talking to Mary about starting a food co-op in Fairfield. So I'd worked at the Park Slope Food Co-op volunteer in Brooklyn for a while. And the idea came to me because obviously just with the economy and what's happening, I think that we need to be concerned about food supply. And also I have fallen out of love with the Whole Foods effect. It's Amazon has changed Whole Foods. And so I just think that it's a good time to start really seriously thinking about this.
Oh, we love what you're saying. You're preaching to our choir here, so that's good.
Yeah.
The Park Slope Co-op is an interesting model because it requires its members to work. One of the few that actually does that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a famous co-op, that one.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I could tell you I've missed my shift a couple of times. You don't want to do that. You have to make up, but it really creates a strong sense of community. And I think that that's also going to be wonderful moving forward for us because just to build on, connecting with people and just also just elevating the community. I think it would be nice. So.
Well, welcome to the meeting. And we also, I see Phil, you just joined. I've got you down. And Sean, I've got you down too. So let's go ahead and get started. First item is minutes. We're all up to date there. Second item, treasurer report.
Yep. At the moment, we have $7,409.33 in the treasury with no expenses pending that I know of at the moment.
Sorry, Ron, I was admitting someone's into the meeting and I didn't write the number down. Go ahead, one more time.
The number was $7,409.33 with no known pending expenses.
And Ron, does that account for the scholarship items that we paid out to the high schools?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that's after the scholarships.
Yeah.
Great. All right. And hey, Jen, welcome. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
I'm going to get you down here on the minutes. Okay. Membership. A couple of meetings ago, we had approved, or I should say, a sense of the body was that we would like Joan Zimmerman to become a new member. And I have Joan's resume now. Thanks for sending that, Joan. No worries. And I will send that off to the first select woman for her consideration. And hey, Brian, I just see that you joined too. Welcome.
Brian's mic is off.
All right. That's okay. We'll hear from him, I'm sure, when he gets connected. Okay, moving on to item number 1, education and outreach. Monthly news item. Jim Marin?
Yeah, we have some content put together. I mentioned this last time on our various EV resources, both from the Earth Week celebration, other places, tied to the fact that more people are getting back on the road, presumably might want to think about their rides. So the article also tees up the virtual Green Wheels Expo coming up in September. So, Mary, I know you are having some connectivity problems, but if we could fix those.
That's me. Yeah, that was me. And then I came home and I got sick. So I will update that. I'll upload that tonight.
Okay, that would be great. And I know where Bob will help us push it out socially as well. So, and I guess next time, since it'll be August already, we should do something a little more specific about, the expo and what the schedule is if we know it at that point, and start gearing up for that.
Fantastic. All right, yeah, I definitely think with the event coming up in September, the press should be oriented toward that.
Yep.
And I'm sure that is what Rabab is also thinking regarding Facebook. She regrets she couldn't make it, but I don't have any specific updates from her. So I suggest we can just move on to item C.
Yeah, she's provided some stats on the Facebook page for the link that she did from me.
Sorry,
If you want to.
who's talking right now? Because whoever's talking, it's very choppy. Is it choppy for everybody else or just me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's choppy.
Sorry.
It's Bill.
She gave me some stats on the post that she did. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the Facebook reached 1,803 people. Instagram reached 727. And there were a lot of private direct messages about solar that she got. So she was wondering if that's something we want to look into again, maybe doing something with it, potentially probably after the election or, COVID, just to see if the public is into it again.
Okay. Yeah. I have kind of a canned response when we get inquiries about solar, and I can go over that with Rabab, but basically we offer some bidders that they can contact, and then also offer to help people review their solar proposals when and if they get them, if they decide to move ahead and contact bidders. So even without a program, we could still help. So if you want to circle back with Rabab and let her know, or I can do that.
Okay.
Hey, Scott,
Yeah.
are you thinking that we would do another solar program around the batteries? I know Green Bank was looking into battery incentives, and that might be something that we could start to offer or promote rather.
Hadn't been thinking that, but certainly it's an idea we can discuss. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Brian here. So battery storage, that's really the big thing of the moment. There is a PURA hearing coming up at the end of the month. So that's still very much in flux. Right now we have a financing incentive with an interest rate buy down, but the real big next thing is we have a residential solar incentive program, which provides the upfront incentive for the installation of solar. That may potentially be, it's meant to sunset. It may extend, but if it does extend, the key is to include a battery storage component. That's our big kind of focus right now. That's the next big thing that we want to work on.
All right. Very cool. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Brian. Let's move on to item number C. Phil Leviev, have you been in touch with Reiner at all about scheduling this workshop, or am I misremembering that you were talking to him?
I think you're misremembering that I was going to ask him about the workshop, but
Okay.
I haven't spoken to him just on email about a couple other things. But I'll ask him if he's ready. What are your thoughts?
I apologize for, did someone else have that action, or was it unassigned? Anybody? Okay.
Give it to Phil.
I'd have to go back and read the minutes, but it looks like it's you, Phil. I inadvertently volunteered you there. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
I thought you said, I remember Phil saying you were gonna ask him about doing the virtual tour.
Yeah, so let me refresh it, Phil. So Reiner had we had scheduled to have a virtual tour of his house, and he was going to give a presentation at the library. To do that, we had the room booked, and then COVID hit, so we had to put the brakes on it. What we would like to do is regroup and just offer that virtual tour in this kind of format, via Zoom or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So just during a night for our group only?
Well, I'm going to ask, let's put a pencil, a pin in that, and let's see if maybe there's a way to incorporate it into the Green Wheels Expo. Because he does have an EV at his house and an EV charger, so maybe we can stretch it into there as part of the promotion as something else people can do that week, the virtual week. So hold on to that thought, Phil, because I don't have an answer, the best way to proceed there.
Okay.
We wouldn't want, I don't think we'd want such an event to be just for us, because a number of us have already actually toured his house. We have to make it a real public event.
Yeah, if I wasn't clear on that, Jim, it would be open to the public, it's just simply replacing what we were planning to do live was an open to the public event at the library. And this would be an open to the public virtual event.
Then we have to publicize it.
Right, that's right. And then that's why I'm kind of tying it into what our big publicity is going to be over the next couple months, which is the Green Wheels Expo. So that would be the best opportunity to get it in sooner rather than later. But maybe we hold it as something to do over the winter. So I'm going to say Phil has the action, and I apologize. You can see me looking over here because I'm keeping the minutes. And I'm just going to say date TBD. All right. Moving on to item 1D, the Green Wheels Expo. Peter or Mary, who wants to give the update on this?
Or Jim Ottavali. So we are meeting regularly, and I did reserve the parking lot. That's all set. I did hear back, this is maybe news to the subcommittee, I did hear back from Sands Cleary and that group, and they do not want us to park our fab cars and for Mike, the UI bucket truck, to let people come and ogle at it, because they're not encouraging people to come, and even with for a short period of time with volunteers keeping social distancing, they're not encouraging that.
So there's no place for us to show off stuff.
I know. I like my idea, but we can still, Phil, Lafife, pay attention. We can still, hopefully, we would love the idea of, we're encouraged by those birthday party honking parades. We'd love the idea of doing a honking EV parade around town, where people, it's moving. So there's no gathering, that they're just driving around, and slowly, 5 miles under the speed limit would be lovely. And so that the people can actually see what's going on. And if we could figure out maybe some signage, or maybe we could use that paint or chalk or whatever that's you can take off with a car wash that they use at the high schools to say congratulations 2020 graduate and all that stuff, whatever, as a maybe the week prior to the Green Wheels Expo kickoff. But anyway, you guys can talk about it through the EV Club.
So I like the idea. Are you saying try to get as many cars as we can and have a route designed throughout Fairfield where we're driving, we're honking, perhaps we get a police escort, an EV police escort maybe from Westport or somewhere else?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you know,
I like that idea.
How many cars?
Not too noisy, obviously. We don't want to be obnoxious. We just want to, but we obviously want to check in with the police and not get in trouble and not make people angry. We want to make sure we're making people happy and excited about what we're going to be doing.
Are you sure we don't want to make anybody angry?
The focus is.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about favorite things about my EV is how quiet it is. So maybe there's another way to attract attention without making noise. I don't know what it is though.
Flashing lights.
Maybe music.
Some flags.
Well, the birthday party thing is they go around honking, so that's why. Anyway, so the point is we are virtual, and we do have to get our tech meetings going. We have to get our schedule in order on that front. And we are doing a week worth. We're doing Monday through Friday. Our kickoff is the 26th, which is actually a Saturday. So I don't have we're doing this all in Google Sheets, and I just technology-wise can't get the Google Sheet up to do all the dates. But the 26th is the kickoff date. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with our reserved parking lot.
They just dismissed out of hand any kind of gathering at all?
No, it wasn't a dismissal out of hand. It was at this moment, the current state of affairs, they said that if you wanted to hold the event today, they would say no. And if we went back in September, closer to the event, they could certainly reevaluate it. And I don't know if you know Sans Cleary, but he's incredibly reasonable. So it was not at all like, don't come back and ask again.
Right.
It's really just, you're asking now, and based on now's information, we have to say no.
So obviously it would be quite a risk to plan everything now for an event that may not happen in real.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So this was really, and this was just parking cars and the truck. So I don't know how much lead time you need to reserve the truck, but that.
Not much at all. And I'm happy to set up a virtual presentation of the bucket truck. That's easily done. I could record it ahead of time, or we could do it live.
I mean, the other possibility is like doing, and this is the kind of thing we do within our special session, so I don't want to take too much time, but we can do like a lottery, and we could, do like a special lottery to get a family to be able to have a tour of the bucket truck, and we could video them doing a tour of the bucket truck, and that could be the video, and that we could do, so it's 2 for 1. Like there's a winner.
Mary, why don't you add me to your subgroup and we can have a further discussion?
Okay. Yes, Ron.
What about dealers?
We were not gonna, Ron, of all people, how much fun did you have with dealers last year?
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
No, listen, if I mean, it doesn't sound like it's
divorced ourselves from the dealers.
Anyway. Yeah, so fine.
No, it's we are working with dealers in terms of getting videos from them, but we were only trying to figure out, since we had the parking lot, we were trying to get like Batmobile quality, super duper cars to park there to kind of get pizzazz marketing things. But we knew that would draw people to stop. And
Mary, doesn't this only stop us from having events on town-owned property? I mean, we could presumably have such an event on private property, though I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone, Jim's house.
At my house.
Oh, God.
I have a driveway. You could put it in there.
Yeah. That's exactly what Sands was saying. And he was leading me down that path. That's true. He did say that.
Is it responsible to do that, though?
Well, that's the other point. And I really would rather err on the side of caution, and Daphne and I are both in lockstep on that. So I personally, and Daphne and I would both be like, we'd fall back.
Yeah, I think you keep going, sorry. I think you keep going full steam ahead here with the virtual event. Mary,
And that's our primary. That is our primary thing. That is what we're doing. So Daphne has a webinar for each day where she's still ironing out the topics for each day, and very similar to what we were doing on Earth Day. We had 2 for Earth Day. She's doing 1 topic. I think that was a little too ambitious. Earth Day, I think, you know, kind of. I'm looking at Dustin. We did more than we. Well, Dustin, that's nothing for Dustin, but. I think that
I like that saying. That's nothing for Dustin.
Nothing but Dustin.
Never heard that before. Maybe because it hasn't never been true. But I mean, on my part, 2 events a day was easy. Just, you know, copy paste. But you know, for those who presented, might have been, you know, more.
I was sick of seeing me twice a day. I'll tell you that.
Mary, can I just confirm something I heard from you so I get it right for the minutes? I think you said that the National Drive Electric Week is starting September 26th, but our events are only going to run Monday through Friday, so that would be September 28th through Friday, October 2nd.
Afterwards, I just can't get the Google Sheets up as quickly as this is happening. But if everybody wants, I can share it with everyone. But the Google Drive, there's a Google folder for all the information for this year's Green Wheels Expo. If everyone's interested, I can make sure it's okay with Daphne.
Yeah, that's fine. What I'd like to capture for the minutes are what are the dates that there will be events
I will
on.
get it to you and send it to you, and I will send it in email to the whole group. I just can't get. I can do it while you're chatting. I will.
I'm not asking for what's going on. Okay, so you're saying you don't know what the dates are?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it right.
All right.
I'll look right.
Yeah.
I'll look right.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to be obnoxious there, Mary. I just was confused. I thought I was confused. You always have all the answers, Mary, so like I'm used to that.
So as a should I be recruiting at this point? And you know, are we talking about 10 cars in a line? Are we talking about 15 cars? You know, if we go down people's streets, you know, and you're in a line of 10, it's not always easy to turn around. So let me know if you want me to. I mean, we have probably 10 cars right here on the phone. What?
Well, I think you need to figure out what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and talk to the police before you figure out how many you want.
Okay.
I would say you would want to get as many cars as you can and somehow pre-publish the driving route so that people know when this will essentially be a parade covering a lot of area on legal roads in a legal manner without closing the streets. People will know when they can look out and see it.
And we need somebody to record the event too.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to the police before you do anything. Don't
or Phil, maybe see if you can get the post road closed and we can drag race like you wanted to do before. I don't know.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay, let's move on here. Mary, the next subcommittee discussion is in 2 weeks. Is that right? Or are you guys meeting bi-weekly?
Yes, it's bi-weekly.
Okay. If anyone would like to be included in the subcommittee, please be sure to let Peter or Mary or Daphne know.
It's Daphne.
Daphne.
Kelsey's handling the distribution.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Mary. All right. Item number E should have been removed from the agenda. The logo refresh is done, and hopefully everyone noticed I used the new logo on the agenda. All right. I blew it last month and I used the old logo. So finally got caught up.
Hey, Scott, I just noticed that when I printed out the agenda, the bottom part of Fairfield didn't print. Why would that be? On the logo.
Margins.
Don't know, Jim. Let's take that offline if you still have trouble with it. All right. Hey, Daphne, welcome. I see you just joined us. Daphne, we were just wrapping up with item number 1, so we're moving on to item number 2. And so it's over to you, Mr. Czar. How are things going? Oh boy, there he is with the hat again.
For the occasion. This is thanks to Mary, who I guess is not using it this summer. So she's passed it on to me.
Certainly not.
Right. So I'm very pleased to report that the preamble and 15 of the modules are out for final review. There is one module that's limping to the finish line, but it's going to get there soon. And there was one I discovered to my horror, thanks to Jim Marin, that was missing in action until this morning. And it will be quickly brought up to speed and introduced. So we'll get that going. So that means that we'll have the preamble and 17 modules. They're virtually on the cusp of being finished. I want to thank the authors of the modules, who are Mary, Daphne, Becky, Bob, Jim Marin, Phil, Kirsten, and Scott for getting all these modules written. And I especially want to thank Peter, Sean, and Jim Marin, who are putting the finishing touches and polish onto the modules that I thought were just about perfect until I let them have it. And they've really put an end to them. They're in just great shape. So by this weekend, we should have them all finished and ready to go to the web format. And as you know, we have a subcommittee for doing that, composed of Dustin, Mary, Sean, and Kirsten. So I'll be able to hand all these over to them. There's still some work to be done in the modules, but not that much left. And we should have this ready on the web in the near future, it seems to me. So I think we're finally looking to the end, and I'd be very happy to hand my czar hat back to Mary.
No, then it goes to Bob.
Hey, Scott.
Right.
Is the plan to bring this to Brenda and the select women and men team before it goes on the web, or is it like simultaneous? Does it have to get blessed or anything? What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna try to bring it to the Board of Selectmen as we have done in the past. But yeah, I think it's up for debate whether we also put it on the website for in parallel review and just note that it's work in progress being reviewed. I think that would be okay too.
So what's your date to get on the calendar? Is it August?
I'm gonna wait until Ron says it's ready, and then when it's ready, we would send it. Ron, to you. My question to you is the format still a like a Word document, or is it being put in web format, or is that really the next step?
We can do both. Once I'm done with it and ready to hand it over to the web people, it'll be in Word format, so you can make hard copies or files or whatever with it.
Yeah, I would really recommend that we stick with the web format. So it's fine if we're working in Word to kind of create web pages, but let's put it in web format, and I think we've all agreed that's our new standard. And let's take that next step.
That's fine.
Hey, I just let some people in out of the lobby. Who just joined? Kirsten, right? I think Kirsten joined.
I have a question. Are we still considering doing a climate justice module? I know we had sort of talked about something like that, and then Kirsten had sent out something to all of us as well, sort of on a similar topic. Is that something that we want to build into one of our modules?
Yeah, I would say, Becky, given everything that's going on in our world right now and how important that topic is, climate justice, I do think that it would be a worthwhile exercise for us to try to address that topic. I'm sure we couldn't do it justice, no pun intended, but I do think that it would be fantastic for us to incorporate a module there to just continue to raise awareness, how communities that are disadvantaged, communities of color that are the ones that are most often impacted by climate and other environmental issues. So I would really think that that'd be something we should strongly consider. That's my 2 cents. I don't know what others think.
And I think going forward, I think it would be too late to do now, but what I've been seeing people do is that's so awesome you brought that up, Becky, because you're right, it's so important. And what I've been sort of seeing the trend be is not that it's like a separate thing, but like going forward that it's incorporated into. So I know we're not going to go back and like incorporate it into all of these modules because, oh my God, right? But I mean, I think going forward, it would be really cool if we could just have some incorporate it in each one, so it's not separate, so it's in there.
Couldn't we put something in the preamble? Couldn't we put something in the preamble that would incorporate it into our main thinking, and that way it would be covered until we did something more specific?
Yeah, I mean,
data.
Let me just chime in here, right? I don't think we want to try to answer the what it is, because this is a complex topic and we want it to be actionable. We want to know what the actions are, not just what the words are, where the words are going to go, but what can we do about it? So if we can all take some time to really think deeply about that, and I think this is the perfect time for us to think about that and become really reflective on what could be actionable and within the scope of what we're trying to do. What difference could we make when it comes to climate justice?
Well, I would just plead that if we're going to write something on climate justice, it doesn't get in the way of moving the whole project forward.
Yeah, agree. I think you're going to definitely find that there's a lot of resources out there, and I would say a good starting point is to look at the UN goals and sustainability. And this is addressed pretty significantly there because, of course.
Well, in the past, we've always had people assigned to it. So, Ron, again, you're going to need to be the czar. Put that hat back on.
We can definitely ask for volunteers here.
I'd be happy to be one.
Becky, all right.
I would be happy to.
Okay, you got Becky and Sean. That's good enough.
Becky and Sean. Okay, climate justice. It is decreed.
And we won't hold up the rest, but we'll start working on it.
I wouldn't mind consulting on that because I did.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind consulting either. Happy to add some insight.
All right. Well, listen, Becky and Sean are the authors, and if you want to add your 2, 3, or 4 cents, you can get in touch with them. All right. Does that make sense?
There's lots of resources out there on this topic, and we have a long way to go here, but I think, as always, one of the key elements of our plan, besides documenting what we think our actions are going to be, is helping to bring key issues to the forefront of the community and raising awareness about key issues. So it's funny, I was just having a conversation with someone today about how the impact is so skewed towards to more disadvantaged communities. So, all right, let's, great idea, Becky. Ron, do you have anything else?
That is it.
Okay, let me just catch up here on the minutes, and I'm going to.
So while you're catching up, Scott, our flyer for the Greenwells Expo says September 28th through October 2nd daily webinars. So I don't know what happened to September 26th. So
that's what I had for Monday to Friday. Okay. Thanks, Mary.
I'm happy now that your mic wants to be added to the next meeting to talk about the UI bucket truck.
Oh, great. Awesome. Okay.
Yes, please.
Let's move on to item 2B if we could. Mary, do you have any new updates on POCD or strategic plan?
Let's just move on to 2C.
Okay, no updates for 2B.
So I had a meeting with Sustainable CT and this ACEEE group. I wish Teresa were still on because I wanted to talk to her about helping out with that. This ACEEE, something about energy efficiency, something or other. They do this top 100 cities in the country about they benchmark greenhouse gas goals and all sorts of other things, and they I'll send all sorts of links for you. And they picked 6 towns in Connecticut, and Fairfield is one of them.
Yay!
Yeah, because we got that silver status in Sustainable CT. It's through Sustainable CT, and so we had a conference call yesterday, and so we're going to try and get going on that. And it's a somewhat of portfolio manager, which is an EPA program that helps manage tracking utility bills and seeing where we can find and manage our energy usage. But it also does way more than that. And it ties into a big project that Ed was already working on for the town and the education side of energy efficiency. So it actually works very well with what the town was already trying to do anyway. So I've already gotten the blessing from Brian Carey. He's very interested and excited about it. And this ties in also with our Clean Energy Action Plan, which is what CEAP stands for. Because it can inform us. It will tell us a lot of things that we aren't doing that we could be doing or should be doing. So Bob and I had a bit of a conversation about that. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. So we haven't focused on doing that because we wanted to focus on, because the same crew that's going to be working on that is working on the sustainability plan. So it is sort of a serial kind of way of working because there's only so many people that we can ask to do work. So once the sustainability plan is done, you guys aren't done yet, then now we're going to call the same group of people and ask you guys, we're going to divvy up modules on the Clean Energy Action Plan and ask you to do some research and do some writing on that as well. So, and the reason Bob isn't here tonight, I'd just like to let you know it's his 25th wedding anniversary. So that's his excuse. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Hey, Mary, you and I had talked about maybe. Mary, you had talked about maybe reaching out to Teresa, and I just got a note from her. She had to drop off, but did you guys connect? You connected? Great.
Yeah, I saw. Right. I'll email her separately.
Okay, cool. That takes us to item number 2D, state and federal action. Does anybody have any items that we're working on here? I have not seen any via email, but does anybody have anything to raise where they need some support from the committee? All right.
Mary, do you want to talk about the Aquarion issue? Is that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, that's a water thing. It's not. So Aquarion has put in a permit request to divert twice the amount of water that they currently divert. And we've, so Fair Plan and the Harbor Commission of Fairfield has asked for a public meeting, not a public hearing. And I believe Daphne via Live Green, I think Save the Sound CFE, and a couple of other people have done the same. So I talked with Brian and he's gonna look into expediting it. And our buddy George Logan from Aquarion And I talked about a couple of different issues, and he's going to try and expedite that. So I don't quite know what that means. They think it probably won't be going to a decision from DEEP for another 6 months. I did a write-up where I did the best I could to write up what I knew, and it didn't make a lot of sense because I didn't understand what I was told didn't make a lot of sense. I got some more information today, but basically what they're trying to do is they want to reopen some wells that are on the Housatonic. So, okay, just let me frame this so that doesn't make sense to me. So they want to open up some wells on the Housatonic that have problems with manganese and nitrates. So nitrates usually are a problem with fertilizer and usually farming when they're this bad, and manganese. And they haven't wanted to open them up because the remediation is very expensive. So why they want to open them up now? And it doesn't make sense because they have to remediate them with all the expense, and they want to pump them from here to this Trout Brook place to Easton someplace to and then somehow magically they're going to get rid of the manganese. It sounds like they're just distributing the manganese problem all over Connecticut as far as, I don't know, it sounds like a disaster. So Fairplan has like a deep throat guy, a friend in DEEP that has helped us in the past explain some stuff. And so we're trying to untangle what this really means, because it doesn't make any sense why they, and Brian and I talked, he worked with the consultant for Aquarian, Peter Gallant, who.
So Mary, it sounds like there's a lot of like kind of unknown here, but when we can get it clarified and define what the action would be, let's bring it back. Okay, does that sound good?
Yeah, in other words, there's a lot of this doesn't make sense stuff. Like, why don't they just dig a bigger hole in the area down south where they need the water? Basically, they need more water in Stamford from Darien, New Canaan to Greenwich. Why don't they just dig deeper holes? It's too expensive. Why don't they remediate the wells? Too expensive.
And why don't they do more education in the towns that need the water so that they use less water?
Too expensive. Everything's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is about a water resource solution for Stamford, and yeah, you may have noticed at one point there was a black pipe running along the Merritt Parkway, right? Which is great for temporary reasons to that's diverting water from our supply to the southwest, but that's not really the most secure way to transfer water from one place to the other. So there's a better way to do it. So that's probably what this is about. All right. If there's an action where you need our advocacy help, when you're ready, please bring that back.
Well,
Let's move on to item number 3, if that's okay.
Well, just to finish up on that, so the other organizations were providing letters of support. So one thing the task force could do would be to do that.
Well,
no one understands what it is right now, though, so we need some understanding.
No, what Daphne's saying is we were asking for a public hearing, and people were writing letters asking for the public hearing. So I think we have enough letters to get a public hearing. I think we're okay on that front.
Okay.
So we're all set. So thank you.
Sorry, Daphne, I misunderstood. Okay. Cool. Done with 2, on to 3. So item 3A, Municipal Solar, really good news to report. Construction work at RLMS at the carports is progressing pretty well. They've completed the foundation work and are now working on steel erection. So very excited that that's going forward. Phil Leviev, you'll be very happy to know that the carports at Burr have also started construction. I heard that they hit some subsurface snags that they've got to work out and may require some alterations, but still confident that they're going to complete both of those carports this summer. Tomlinson never really got off the ground, to my knowledge. I think the developer has given up. I expect that we will lose the ZREC there, and that may be a blessing in disguise, because if the ZREC is, if you will, lost there, maybe we can reconnoiter on the train station Tomlinson project. Any questions there?
The train station Tomlinson project, is that something that's slotted, or that's just something that's?
Yeah, just to refresh the memory on that, we had when we first met with the first select woman and her team at the start of her term, there was an expression of interest at looking at the train station for solar, to revisit that. One of the barriers to that was that we currently had a ZREC for Tomlinson's meter already. And Tomlinson is really the key off-taker for a large-scale solar array from the train station. And you can't have ZRECs for the same meter. So if this project does not go forward, the current approved one, it would seem that would open up the opportunity to again look at the train station project. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Okay, item 3B.
Oh, and I was just going to say, Scott, let me know how I can help on the train station one. I think that's a thorny political issue too, the condo and all that. So I'm happy to use whatever ability I can to kind of nudge on that one.
Yeah.
Mary, are you okay? I was worried about you.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that offer. And we've been kind of waiting to see how the existing project plays out, and I need to get a firm update on that, but I believe the ZREC is going to expire. And so, I think there's a new sheriff in town, and if she wants this to happen, we may be able to make it happen. So we'll see, but I appreciate the offer. EV charging infrastructure, Daphne?
Yeah, so I'm going to bundle EV charging infrastructure and EVs for town fleet together. We all know that we did the EV readiness study in Fairfield, and we got a lot of information together and where we are with everything. But that study was not a plan, it was a study. And we're also doing a study in Hamden. And what I've come to find out is doing these plans and doing these RFPs, they're hard. They're hard for towns to do. And so what I've come up with is actually a program. It's a 12-week program. It's called the Municipal EV Readiness Program. And we're trying to get a few towns who are going to sign up for this program. And we have the support of SCROG and their municipalities. I think they have 15. And so it's this program, it's a 12-week program that will cover zoning and parking, building codes and permitting, workplace charging, public charging, municipal fleets, first responder fleets, school bus, transit, and charging. And the idea is to have these towns go through a program together, with the goal of, at the end of the 12 weeks, that they have a actual plan. So it's going to start September 7th. So I still have a lot of work to do to get it together. But I think if we when we do it as a group with all these other towns, it's going to be a lot easier. And of course, we have to get Fairfield to join, and I think that they will. I still have to talk with folks. But I think if we do this with other towns and we do it together, I think it'll be really we'll get a lot more traction, and people will have support of other towns. And so all the towns, maybe we can do a group or, buy for some of these vehicles. But that's the plan I'm going with. So it would start September 7th, and there would be, people identified to participate, and materials given ahead of time, and support and tasks, and a lot of guidance. And there would be a module each week, and then these coaching calls we're going to set up. we did the electric school bus toolkit, and it was kind of that, and from that I learned the power of doing these things with groups and how it's really helpful for people to do things together. So that's the approach I'm taking in order to develop an RFP and to figure out an infrastructure plan.
That sounds great.
So
thank you, Daphne.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah.
And as it develops, I'll share with you what we're doing, so that if you have feedback and input and ideas, or if I'm missing something, you know, that'd be great. So I'll share it along the way as it gets developed with everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Could I just ask, are we in Fairfield, are we considering that Fairfield is fully wired for EVs at this point? I mean, do we need more charging stations?
Yes. Yeah, I
Where
mean,
would you think
the
they would
two
go?
areas, the two places are multi-unit dwellings, you know, and then people who don't have garages. And then the other thing we always have to be looking at is, you know, just more public charging. And what about like the zoning regulations? I mean, and when apartments go in, should there be, should be mandated that a certain percent need EV. So I mean, Fairfield's pretty good, but there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of things identified in that study. There's a lot of good things going on, but then there's a lot to be done.
So Daphne, we're doing the POCD, so I really encourage you to figure out what should be in zoning, and we should write that up and propose it now for Emmeline to include.
Yeah, I have all the recommendations. So
let's write it up and put it in memo form to Emmeline, and I'll work with you on that.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks
Hey,
for
yeah, thanks, Mary. Hey, Daphne, the EV readiness study, I know it was completed, and I remember seeing a draft and a near final draft, but I thought there was some like kind of final approval and publicity from UI. And has that occurred, and is the document now fully public?
Yeah, it's on our website. I can send it out to everyone. I don't think we never did the big UI Mike? We never did a big, you know, announcement or anything. So I don't know if it's still to come, or it might be when Hamden, I know Hamden's going to do a big release, so maybe it's done together.
You know, one of the things I would love to tie together here is tie this with the Green Wheels Expo, and Jim Marin, if you're there too, maybe we can, in one of the press pieces we do, provide a link to the study and, you know, take some credit for completing this study. I mean, I know Liv Green was the engine behind it, but many of us contributed, I think, along the way.
Yeah, Scott, you read my mind there, Scott, a little bit. That would be a perfect way to align the expo, the study, the UI partnership with Daphne's efforts. It'd be a perfect way to roll it out, get a little attention to it.
And it also is like, you know, 2 weeks into the program where the goal is to have an actual plan. So we've done the study, now the next step is the plan. So it's good for that too.
Yeah.
Daphne, is there a link on the study that you could send to me just for background?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, and I'd like to refresh on it, because I'd really love to be familiar with what are the key talking points in terms of what the study says that we have as gaps. And I think you just went over those, and those are the multi-dwelling units. I would assume that there's also a gap in DC fast charging, although we did get our Tesla superchargers, and we're really grateful to have those in Fairfield. We still don't have any DC fast charging anywhere here. So unless you have a Tesla, you're kind of SOL. Yeah. So yeah, great. Awesome. Electric school buses?
Yeah, electric school bus. So we've been working on that a lot. So the Board of Ed has met with First Student to talk about, you know, about this electric school bus idea. Board of Ed has also met with a company called, we had a meeting with
the Board of Ed, or do you mean the school operations? Do you mean the Board of Ed?
Oh, I misspoke. I'm sorry. It's when I say that, what I really mean is it's Angelus and Nick. So
Fairfield Public School operations. Okay.
I'm sorry. Sorry, you're writing notes, so I should be more specific. But we, you know, they've been talking with First Student about these buses, And there's also a company called Highland Electric Transportation, and they are a really interesting company, and they actually buy this. I won't get into the details, but we've been having these different meetings, and we had a meeting again today with Highland and Angelus and Nick and Doreen, and these are the three things we have to do. We have to see if we're eligible, because of these eligibility requirements. And Angela still thinks there's a way we can be eligible for VW. So he's actually talking with Deep tomorrow to find out if we're eligible. And then Nick is writing an email to First Student to say, we really do want to get these buses. And then my action item is to set up another meeting with Highland, who does this financing thing, and First Student to see if they can figure something out. So we had that meeting today at 3. So Board of Ed, according to Nick and Angelus, are 1,000,000% on board and really want to get these buses. So we're just hacking away at it. So
it's all about getting the grant.
It's all about getting the grant.
I recently had the opportunity to talk to Dominion Energy down in Virginia, who's giving grants for 1,000 electric buses. And they just rolled out their project, and they've selected their first 50, which are going to, I think, 8 or 12 different communities. So pretty exciting. Now, the difference for everybody is that our utility is privatized, whereas Dominion's vertically integrated, so they deal with the supply and the demand. So
we're also going back to UI and trying to talk more with them about what is it going to take for them to, and I guess they have to do a rate case filing to do some of this stuff, but we still are talking with them and with Eversource. Not that affects Fairfield, but just to see, like, what can we do?
Yeah, cool.
What has to happen?
This sounds good. That sounds good, Daphne. If there are any dates that we need to be aware of when new grants are due, I'd love to kind of hear about that. And I'm sure you're tracking.
It hasn't come out yet, actually. The VW grant it's late. They're still, they haven't finalized it yet, so it hasn't even come out yet.
So one of the issues that we face is when the grants come out, you have a very short amount of time to respond. And so the key is kind of knowing what the grant criteria are in advance to the extent possible. You don't know.
It's in the application. I mean, you can ask questions and they'll answer it, but
yeah,
so we're doing all this work to get as ready as we can.
Have they awarded the bus contract, by the way?
Yes. Yeah, it like 2 days ago. They like literally like 2 days ago.
So First Student.
It went to First Student.
So now we know who we're working with for the next 5 years, and we can really try to get involved with their grant writing department to get the grants that we need. I think is, to me, one of the strategies we should be considering.
Well, we've had a couple.
You're already doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Great. Thank you, Daphne. Anybody have any questions for Daphne on all those items that she covered?
I would just add that as you're looking at grants or money for the EV buses, I know we talked about the potential to tap into the battery and load shift. I know Eversource is currently offering $700 to consumers if they're able to tap into their battery storage and load shift per device, right? So Powerwall. So I don't know, UI, and Brian mentioned Green Bank. I haven't heard anything from UI. But, right, there's some economic advantage there, obviously for UI, that can help offset the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, great point, Phil. Hey, Jen, I saw you had your hand up.
Hey, thanks. I was wondering if you had any idea how many buses the grant would be able to purchase, or if we don't even know how much we are eligible for with the grant yet.
So we don't know exactly how much Deep is going to offer. What we do know is that we would probably go for, if we're eligible, we would probably go for 2 buses and ask for that, and we would just see what they would give us.
And just as an aside, found your presentation to the Board of Ed on the toxicity of bus exhaust really impactful last year. And every single morning when I walk my son out to the bus, I think about it. So thank you for pursuing this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you, Daphne, too.
Well, yep, we're all in this.
I mean, I'll just, since some of you may not have been there at the Board of Ed when I gave that presentation last September, I mean, kind of bottom line is, this impact has been occurring for many, many years. And, it's hard to say what we could have done about it really until now. Until now, we now have the technology that has been commercialized. Communities are adopting electric school buses, and we really have the opportunity to reduce this really terrible pathway of exposure to our most vulnerable populations, our children. So we're working on it. Let's get it done. Thank you, Daphne. All right. Hey, Zoe, I saw you join. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
All right, we are just done with item number 3. Item number 3, that was D. So moving on to item number 4, food waste and environmental. Becky had to drop on item 4A. Becky had to drop off early, and she said she's still working on it, but no real update on the drop-off location. Does anybody have any update on the Sherman zero waste composting pilot? Still probably pretty much on hold because of
No, it's on
COVID.
hold. No,
Yeah.
nothing to report. And nothing. Pollinator pathway. There's a monthly newsletter I'm delinquent on sending out, so nothing really there. Sorry.
Okay. My pollinator garden is quite weedy, but it's got lots of insects and bees and
Do you have a
butterflies.
sign? Do you have one of the signs?
I'm so glad you asked that, because I was going to mention that I finally went to Aspetuck Land Trust and requested one of their Green Pathway logos that goes on the mailbox. So it's in the mail, yeah. So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm a member of Aspetuck Land Trust, but is this open to anybody? If you're a non-member, it costs you $10, but you can request the green corridor placard for your mailbox. And what that means is you agree to not use pesticides, to focus on native vegetation, just to stay away from chemical fertilizers, the good things that we all know that we can be doing in our own yards, that when you add them up yard by yard and quarter acre by quarter acre could really make a difference in these green corridors. So I know, like, I'm preaching to the choir here, but pretty much I bet if we went around the table, everybody is already doing these things that you're asked to commit to. So I just love the idea of, let me just say, when I go by my neighbor's yard and they have that yellow thing that sticks up that says this yard was just treated with pesticides, and it's a warning, that's to me the yellow badge of shame. And here, this is the green badge of pride that you get to put in your mailbox. So go for it.
I have to say something about that. I learned recently that even if you hire an organic landscaping service, they are obligated to put up the little yellow signs, even if they're using organic stuff.
Ooh. Okay.
That's true, because I had an organic treatment, and they put the yellow thing up.
I know.
Like, oh,
all right.
Look it out.
So I withdraw my remarks, because that's
you could be right.
Not shameful.
You really don't have to use those stuff, but there's also a difference. There's the green corridor and there's the pollinator pathway. So you can get either one of those signs, and they're the same thing. Pollinator pathway is a broader geographic area. So.
Right. So just one last time, you can go to the Aspetuck Land Trust website and request the mailbox placard.
Or you can go to Connecticut Audubon, ask for pollinator pathway sign.
Do they come and do they take soil samples?
No, that you do yourself and you send off to UConn, Bethel, the Extension Service. If you're interested, you can call me or text me. I can tell you how you can do it. I actually have all the stuff at home because I was doing so many presentations. I have all the Extension Service stuff at my home. So I have all that information if you're interested.
So it was meant to be kind of a joke, but the do they you have to send the soil samples to get the sticker for the mailbox?
No.
Okay, that was the joke.
No.
So yeah, how do they know if you're not?
If you're gonna
you know, I don't use any pesticides, but how do they know? You're just going to get a sticker in the mail?
promise, it's on your honor.
Okay.
I
That's
promise.
an interesting trait these days, honesty. But I
promise.
digress.
Not to use pesticides or herbicides.
All right. Thanks, Mary. Okay, you said that the pollinator pathway sticker, or is it a sign you can get from Connecticut Audubon? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, Connecticut.
Yeah, I actually just want to say something quickly. You can also get it from the pollinator pathway. I got it from the group in Darien. I have the, it's not a sticker. It's like with a
sign. It's the
wooden
same
sign.
Ellie, it's the same thing. It's just in Fairfield. We do it from Wild Birds Unlimited and Connecticut Audubon.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's just Fairfield specific. That's all.
Okay, because I just have a sticker that I stick in my garden, and I know that it's I take care of the garden myself, so I know that it's there are no pesticides there.
All right, awesome. You're in the right place. All right, let's move on to item 4D, Meatless Monday. Dustin?
Yes, so a little bit of movement on this front. Given the climate, not just literally speaking, but figuratively as well, you know, throughout the nation, you know, we decided that for July, we would try to, you know, every month we've been featuring, you know, a sustainable or a vegan restaurant. And so we did like the stand, there's BD provisions. And so we were thinking for July, you know, taking the temperature of what's going on in the world, that it would be a really nice thing to do to, you know, bolster and promote a Black-owned vegan restaurant. And so there aren't any in Fairfield, but the good news is there are 2 in Bridgeport, which is our neighbor, and it's nice to promote them as well. And so I reached out to Junior's Meatless, which opened just about a year ago, maybe less. They're fantastic. I've been communicating with them, and I'm currently waiting on a response to some interview questions, but we will feature them on our social media once that is returned to us. Rabab is in the loop on this as well. So that's what, you know, I've been working on with Rabab right now. In our subgroup, we've been kind of throwing around some ideas as far as local food and trying to, you know, bring more awareness around the local food page that we have on our website, as well as a number of other options, which I think will probably work best if we segue into what Mary and Aletha would like to mention about the co-op. But before that, I did also want to mention, because Rabab isn't here and she wanted to mention about social media that ties into food, the Sustainable Youth Group is working on a web series, and it's called The Meat Saga, and it's about local food, factory farming, and eating vegan. So that's something that the youth group is working on, and that's what I got for.
Dustin, what's the other vegan restaurant in Bridgeport? Is that Jamaican place?
Shandals. Yeah, they don't really have such a, they're awesome, really good food. But I have not been able to get in touch with them. But yes, they are the second one in Fairfield. I mean, not Fairfield, sorry, Bridgeport.
What about Bloodroot? Is that still open? I don't know. I haven't been there
Yeah,
in a long
and they're
time.
actually moving for the first time,
They
to
are
a
open.
vegan menu.
For my wife.
They're, with COVID, they closed down, but now that they're reopening, they are changing their menu to fully vegan. They were vegetarian before.
Right.
So they are doing that. And we would love to, feature them as well. But I guess the focus that we were looking for right now was a Black-owned business to promote, to, bring more awareness to our neighbors in Bridgeport who have a fully vegan restaurant. So Bloodroot is definitely on our radar. And we're looking beyond Fairfield because obviously we've already hit every fully vegan restaurant in Fairfield. It can take long. But
hey Dustin, just make sure I got the name. Whoa. Bad feedback there. The name of the first restaurant was Junior's Meatless. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Got it. And Shandals, like,
I believe.
Shandals is spelled. Do you know how to spell that?
Yeah, SHANDALS.
That's what I got. Okay. Cool. And hey, we usually talk about local food when we are on the topic of our monthly news item, but were there other items around local food that Kirsten or Mary or Olathe wanted to bring up here before we move on?
There's another place in Westport opening up called Manna Toast. I don't know if it's 100% vegan. It might be, but it's worth checking out, Dustin.
I think it's on my radar.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Well, I love the promotions and raising that awareness. All right, Master.
Are you looking for a news item for July?
No, we covered that before you joined, Sean. It's going to
Oh.
focus on the Green Wheels Expo. So.
Okay.
Yep.
How about Catch a Healthy Habit in Fairfield? How much?
Yeah, they're not fully vegan, but they're definitely on the radar as well. There's quite a few places that have vegan options or a vegan separate menu. So I guess at first we were looking for 100% vegan, kind of promoting the mission, understanding the sustainability of it. There are quite a few other places that are accidentally very vegan friendly, and then some like Catch a Healthy Habit that are vegetarian. Organica is another one. They do not use all ingredients without animals, but most.
Wow, that surprises me that Catch a Healthy Habit is not vegan, because it's like raw too. I thought they were like the most extreme, but I have to check their menu out.
I'm with you.
That's surprising.
They're so close. I could go on. I'm not going to, but there's a few restaurants in the area that are 99% of the way there, and I guarantee removing that 1% of ingredients will not impact their sales at all, or their food costs. But that's their choice.
All right. I think we're on to other updates and new business. Item number 5. Daphne, Sustainable Fairfield County.
Yeah, so we had our meeting on Monday, and we had an update for Green Wheels Expo, but because events have kind of, well, we all know what's going on with that. We've kind of changed course a little bit, and we're focusing more kind of on initiatives now. So we had electric school bus updates. We also had pollinator pathway updates by town. There was a lot of interest on idle reduction, and the folks from Wilton who have done idle reduction for years, they have little cards that talk about like why you shouldn't be idling, and have offered to work with anybody in the group that wants to purchase them at a very fair cost to help promote idle reduction and no idling in the towns. So that was really great. But the star of the show was Pippa Bell Adler, and she kind of single-handedly, with a lot of help, and support along the way, introduced a food scrap program at the Westport transfer station that opened on Monday. So they now accept food scraps and compost at the transfer station in Westport, which is so awesome. They modeled after Scarsdale, and it's just exceptional. So we're going to really be focusing a lot of time, I think, it's Sustainable Fairfield County, trying to help support towns do that, and maybe one day we can do something in our town.
Maybe we can get Pippa to move to Fairfield.
Gosh, amazing.
Awesome. All right.
There's the 06880 blog that does all the stories about Westport. I think everyone in Westport reads it. It'd be useful if they were aware of this, that food scraps are accepted there. I don't know if they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell the guy who runs it, my class.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The 0688 guy has publicized it. It's very well publicized all over Westport News. It's everywhere.
Okay, that's good.
It's huge in Westport right now.
And they were going to table at 30 events, but obviously that didn't work. But they have all kinds of partners, and they're really getting the word out.
The thing that Pippa really wanted to promote that I thought was really great, and she did in her presentation, was she wanted to do food waste reduction, and she had her little eat this first her refrigerator. Do you want to talk about that, Daphne?
Well, that was just, so we all have, so we throw away so much food that so much food is wasted by throwing away. So as Mary's saying, have a place in your refrigerator, like a sign actually that says "Eat me first," so that you don't have to throw away food that spoils.
It's very Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I like it. I like it.
So
just leave the sign there and just locate it near the thing. Whoa.
So I'm sorry, Scott, I think you had a question, and I was interrupted by my children. So I wanted to just circle back to just mention that for those of you who are interested in the idea of a food co-op and starting a food co-op, I did reach out to Rachel Porter. She helps to manage along with the owner at Park Slope Food Co-op in Brooklyn. And one of the things that they do is they actually help other towns to start food co-ops by providing support and grants and so forth. And so she is willing to join us on a Zoom call. She's available the week of July 13th and also the week of July 27th. And will also make herself available other times that are most convenient for us. And I have to say also that I was cleaning out my basement with COVID-19 and all that's happening. And look what I found. I found an old handbook. It's an old Park Slope Food Co-op membership manual with like everything in there, So I thought.
Is that a how-to book?
Yeah, it's like when you join as a member, you get this handbook. And so I just thought it was like a huge coincidence that I came across this, because I thought it was like in the trash or something, but this has everything about like, it just has all the table of contents of like what you do as a member and what's required of you and the expectations and so forth. So I just wanted to just share that with everyone for those of you that are interested in, having a call with her. I think it's a good way to get the ball rolling. I also reached out to Mark Barnhart, who is the Economic Development Director. It's kind of like moving ahead a little too fast, but I just thought I could test the waters with him to see, because eventually at some point we would be talking about location. And I noticed, I live here in town, and I noticed that the Plan B building is up for rent or whatever. Well, full disclosure to this group, I found out through Mark that it's actually owned by Stop and Shop. The old post office on Post Road that was renovated into Plan B restaurant. So because it's owned by Stop and Shop, and Stop and Shop is still paying the rent even though no one is there and nothing is there, he thought it would be unlikely that they would be in favor of having a co-op there because we would be considered a competitor. So it was just one sort of thing that I went off, on the whiff to do, but I think it's kind of like just thinking too far ahead because location is going to be determined unanimously by the group, not just by me. So, but I just thought I was curious since, it's a nice location because of parking and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So anyway, I'll stop. But Rachel Porter is happy to help us, guide us as to how to start, what to do.
Alith and I have been talking. So her name is Alith, just to make sure everybody, it's an unusual name, so that's how you say it. Alith,
okay.
I've been buddies for a while. And yeah. She's incredibly helpful at Green Wheels Expo without any prompting. She jumped right in and said, what can I do? She's such a doer. And Alith and I, talk about, what every 6 months or something. And then we have this devouring of ideas and yeah, right. And we just oh, get this and that. And yeah, so, and right. One of those things. And so I've connected her with Tara Cook-Littman. And when COVID hit, Tara's first response was, oh my God, food security. And she wrote this missive to Brenda about, everybody's focused on this virus, but I'm telling you, we really have to focus on food security. I said, so when Alith called me, I said, you have to connect with Tara. So that's why whenever I introduce people to this food co-op idea and Alith, I always include Tara. Tara's
and Kirsten.
We're running short on time here.
I'm not done. I just want to make sure you understand all the people that are on this. So Bob is involved, and Kirsten is part of this whole food group, and Michelle McCabe, who is part of the Greater Bridgeport Council of Churches, who runs her food whole thing. So that is part of this whole food co-op connection. So I just wanted to let who is also included in this food co-op group.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mary.
Awesome. Alith, Alith, sorry.
Okay, the E is silent. It's okay. Yeah. I've been called Alita, Alethea, all sorts of things.
Regarding your offer to have the woman that knows about the co-op present to us, I could suggest our next meeting, which is August 12th. We could carve out maybe 5 or 10 minutes for a presentation if the task force would like that. I think this is a topic that is near and dear to our hearts. We really care about food security. We really care about local food. And I certainly would like to learn more about how to make a co-op happen.
Okay.
Any objection to putting that on the agenda for next month?
Good idea.
For me.
Okay. Consider it done if the date works. And if not, we'll try a future month. All right. I do want to get to...
Wait, Scott, is 5 to 10 minutes enough?
We have a separate subcommittee on food, so let's talk about that separately if you want to move on.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I do. And I want to get to Zoe, who's joined here from Fairfield Equity Coalition, but let's just punch through these last couple of items here. Can we do a quick round robin Clean Cities update? Anything more?
Yeah, what?
Anything more than what you already covered? Anything critical from Clean Cities?
Well, so I'll give you the update if that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So the Federal Highway Administration has their national EV corridor designation, and we are nominating Route 7 to be designated as an EV ready corridor, which means if we nominate them in October and it gets accepted, then we would be able to get signage in that area. I-95 is already a designated already a designated EV corridor, and the EV signs have actually been designed, and we're just waiting for them to be put up. So that's really exciting. And we have anybody who's interested in EV corridor support to help us get this Route 7 designated. We have a meeting on July 29th. The Proterra buses.
What does the designation actually mean?
What it means is that then we can get signage up on those roads. So you have to be designated to have those signs. Signage.
What do the signs say?
Yeah. What do I drive on a special lane or something?
It's to indicate that there's fuel, that there's charging stations. I don't know what it looks like yet because they've just been designed. So
Are there criteria to get the sign?
The criteria to get the sign is that you have to be a designated corridor. Once you're a designated corridor, we work with Connecticut DOT. Once a corridor is designated, then the next step is to get the signage up. So 95 is already designated. It's already confirmed.
So will there be signage that says Fairfield rest stop EV charging, something like that?
It's up to them to decide what the signage is going to be. It's up to DOT what the signage is going to be, and it's a lot of. I have nothing to do with that, but it's good to get signage up so people know that there's charging stations. It's a great way to get rid of anxiety.
Right.
So that is that. I know we're running late, so I want to hurry up. I do want to say that the Proterra transit buses for Bridgeport have arrived. So there's 12 Proterra buses sitting there, and they're getting commissioned. So they're on their way to getting up. And next year there'll be 10 electric buses in Hamden and 2 in Stamford. And I did hear from Sergio Alfonso today about doing some sort of virtual site visit in White Plains. So we're still gonna figure that out. There's more, but I'll let it go at that. But the Proterra, I think buses is kind of the most exciting thing.
That's huge. That's huge.
Proterra.
Yeah, and we're planning a site visit. It'll be a virtual site visit. So I'll let everybody know how that's going. So that'll be fun.
Cool. That is so cool. That was worth the going over a little bit here. I hope everyone doesn't mind. We're going to take maybe no more than 10 minutes to finish. Any update on the PTA Council?
Off for the summer.
Okay.
Sustainable use. Nothing on the plastics. I hope, Dustin, I really hope you and Bob can get them connected with you on the meatless stuff, because they should be one initiative. And I would really hope that Assad could be the point person for the youth, so that it could be, they need a leader on that. And the third connection is the Get Out the Vote, which they're calling it. So it's really looking like we're going to have a legislative special session on July 20th through the 24th. But everybody you can call. Please get them to call, and you can call and talk to your representatives to make sure we get a special session. It should be the 20th through the 24th of this month. The 2 main initiatives are the absentee ballot for the general election. We are allowed to do the primary by absentee ballot legally and say we're worried about COVID. That's okay. The absentee ballot on the general election is not covered by executive order. We need to change the constitution of our state in order to legally allow us to say we're worried about our health to vote absentee ballot. So
can that happen in special session?
That can happen. It has to happen in special session. It has to happen by the legislature. So and
a special session is not yet scheduled or not yet certain?
Special session is not yet scheduled. You have to get your legislators to require this. So it's looking like it will be July 20th through the 24th, but it's not guaranteed. The reason it's not is because they're trying to agree on what will be covered in this special session. It will be it's only a week, so it's only going to be a very minor little thing. They're going to have the Senate meet, and then they're going to have the House meet.
All right. We're getting a little off topic. I know this is important, Mary.
We have to, okay, I'm just letting you know. So we want to cover this. We want to have a special session. We want to ask them to have absentee ballot covered by, we're worried about COVID, and then they're going to have a get out the vote thing. So those are the three things that the Sustainable Youth is covering. Right now, the reason that the person that is covering this is not on this call right now is she's being trained to do a call bank to do get out the vote work on this. So Jill presented to Sustainable Fairfield County on Monday, and I thought she did a great job. Don't you think, Daff?
It did. It was awesome.
So that's
right.
it.
Thanks, Mary. Phil, any updates from the EV Club?
Yeah, three quick ones. The Westport Police Department has its fourth EV now. This was a donation of a BMW i3 from a Westport citizen. So now it's become a Westport police vehicle, and I think it's going to be parked at Staples, and it's the kind of the traffic security car there. So that's good news. We are thinking about doing our own Zoom series, either with the library and similar to kind of what we did during Earth Week. So more information on that, trying to get printing out misconceptions of EVs, creating awareness, educational demonstrations, vehicles. And so that's all in discussion right now.
Phil, I want to just offer to invite you to collaborate with the Green Wheels Expo team to the extent possible. I mean, of course, I think you're doing that already, but we would love to, this should be kind of a merger, with what we're doing in Fairfield. We should do it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no problem. And then, check out the website. It's gotten pretty good. Barry's done a really good job of, getting real data and asking it, getting it from the Department of Motor Vehicles, gives the latest up-to-date real data by town, of EV purchases, by trends. I think everybody probably heard about the news over the last quarter. Tesla had a strong quarter with EV sales over 90,000, and I think it was almost every other manufacturer that was 70% off of their numbers based on last year, the same quarter. So, it's a good sign, obviously, for Tesla, but for EVs. And then the last thing I'll say is, Deep came out with their EV roadmap, and our club kind of looked at it, and we had an op-ed written by Annalise Paik. It was in the Current, I think it was today. And we really felt like Deep wasn't being bold enough, and some of their roadmap and the electrification of the fleet was, really it should have been flipped upside down. Instead of like a 5%, it should have been more like a 95%. So we had an op-ed written, and we think the state and hopefully Fairfield and other sustainable CT towns will help drive the state into more bolder, aggressive, actionable items that'll help meet the governor's
Will you share that
declaration?
Send it around so we can read it and see.
Yeah, I did. I sent it to Sean, and I sent it to Becca just now, but I'll send it to everybody, the article. Yeah.
Thank you, Phil. Appreciate the update.
Yep.
Do we have anything on Earth Day celebration other than the scholarships were given out, and they're now called the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force Scholarships, so we didn't rename them, but any other updates? No? Okay. And I've got nothing on the Merritt Parkway Trail Alliance and the collaboration with the Green Shoes. I did want to add one item for new business, and I Mary and I had a call earlier today with the Fairfield Equity Coalition. That is a group of folks here in Fairfield that are working together to help improve the town's educational curriculum to be more in line with making sure that our students have a good education when it comes to understanding racial inequalities. And I want to take it over and turn it over here to Zoe Gupta, who is the leader of that group. And it's a large group of folks, and they're doing lots of great work in there. Zoe's going to give you her elevator speech here.
Sure. I'll try and keep it brief because I know that we're short on time. Thank you guys so much for having me, and it's fun for me to listen into what you guys are doing. It's awesome to see all the kind of grassroots groups doing different things. So my name is Zoe Gupta. I'm the interim president of the Fairfield Equity Coalition. I can read you guys our mission statement really quickly. Basically, Fairfield Equity Coalition is a youth-led organization taking local action to reimagine Fairfield's definition of what constitutes a comprehensive education. Our goal is to push for equitable policy and curriculum changes within Fairfield Public Schools while raising awareness on injustices against marginalized populations within our community, which is very vague and overarching on purpose. This is something that we'd like to repurpose to address educational inequity across all kinds of marginalized groups, but our current focus is on anti-racist education. So we have about 50 people working on the team right now, which is really exciting. Some of them are currently in Fairfield Public Schools as high schoolers. Some of them are alumni who are college or post-grad. And our main project right now is creating a proposal for the Board of Ed with some actionable changes. So we sent out a survey for students and alumni to submit their experiences with racism within Fairfield Public Schools, or any kind of educational gaps that they, maybe learned something in college or online that they wish that had been taught to them in school. And we received almost 400 responses, and which is really exciting. And so our data team has processed that into 8 kind of actionable changes at the moment. We're hoping to have a pretty detailed proposal by the end of July that describes exactly what those changes are, and also detailed implementation methods. So, keeping in mind the curriculum boundaries and funding boundaries and all these kinds of things. That's as much of an elevator pitch as I guess I can give for now. It's very complicated, and we're trying to work across towns as well. We're trying to build partnerships with Bridgeport, communicate with as many community organizations as possible, because we're obviously not the first people to be doing this kind of work. There's a lot of people that have been doing it for a long time, and I know it doesn't directly relate to what you guys are doing, but there is definitely crossover, I know, in environmental justice between racial equity and environmental environmental movements. So, and you are all active members of the local community. So thankfully, Scott let me, or I should say Mr. Thompson, I'm supposed to call you Scott now, was nice enough to let me come and present to you guys in case any of you are interested in either knowing what we're up to or getting more involved. So I'm going to drop our website in the chat right now, where you can find further information about what we're doing. You can sign up for a newsletter, you can email us, you can follow us on social media. And if any of you would like to arrange a meeting at some point to learn more, or I don't know, email us with any questions, or if you know any community members, because you're all active members of the community, if you know any administrators or organizations that are doing similar work that you think would be on board with what we're doing, please let us know. I don't know how much of an elevator pitch that was. If you guys have any immediate questions, you're welcome to ask them. I know people might need to get going, but if you have further ones after this meeting, you can also email us.
I had 2 questions. I guess one, how old are you, and or what school do you go to? And number 2, you have a data person? What?
Okay, yeah.
How do we get a data person? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just turned 19. I'm a rising sophomore at Columbia University, but I graduated from Ward class of 2019. And yes, we do have a data team, which is crazy. We have 2 research teams. We have a data team, which writes our surveys and processes them. We have external relations, which does meetings, internal relations, which is writing our proposal, sustainability and team building, which unfortunately sustainability is not environmental sustainability in this case. It's more to sustain our momentum. I believe we have another committee. There's just, and the thing is too, is we have 45 people on board that we got within the last 2 weeks, but now that our social media is up and running, we have another 30 that want to join. So there's a lot of people really jazzed about this. And even a data team, we have a lot of people that, you know, fully studied like data science and computer science in college that are helping us. So it's great.
It's great.
It's such a cool initiative.
So
And thank
great.
you so much, Zoe. I want to make a couple of quick connections for you. At least on my Brady Bunch picture, Jim Marin is right above you, and I think I connected you. He's our traditional media lead for our committee. And then over, at least to the left of you on my screen, is Daphne Dixon, and she is the leader of Sustainable Fairfield County. And I think it'd be great if you guys could connect social medias there. And then up in the upper left corner, Ron Blumenfeld is leading the update of our sustainability plan. And when we had that item on the agenda, we actually agreed to address climate justice as a new module to the plan. And so maybe there's more overlap than we realize before. So we're going to be working on that, and Sean Sullivan and Becky Bunnell will be kind of drafting that module. So Sean, you may want to reach out to Zoe to compare notes when you guys are working on that.
Yeah, definitely will do.
Thank you so much. And yeah, guys, if you have any further questions at any time, just make sure to copy the website right now. I can also email it to Scott and he can send it out in case you guys have any questions.
You were in a ward with John Mayer, were you?
No, you were a long, long time ago.
All right, I was just checking.
Yeah.
That was my question.
All right. Thanks so much, Zoe. Before we wrap up, any other new business?
Well, Peter.
Scott, yeah, I wanted to bring up something. This is a follow-up to what Mary sent out last week, the 4th of July, connect text about a nation in need of humility and repentance. Basically, it's about integrating issues of equality, diversity, and awareness in all of our initiatives. I think I sent that to everybody today.
Good, yeah.
You got it from Mary last week. And now is probably not enough time to discuss how we can just tie this into what we're doing in the community. To the article was an eye-opener in terms of what really needs to be done in Connecticut in terms of equality, in terms of education quality, justice, the whole thing. It was a shocking revelation to me, and I think to Mary as well. And I think we need to discuss this and how we can integrate it into our work.
I was trying to, I use the term touchstone. I was a swimmer, not like a really great swimmer, but when you touch, you always like touch the wall, and then you swim, and you always like know who you are. You always touch the end, and you keep swimming, but you always know where you are by touching the end. And I keep calling it, and so Peter said, why do you call it the touchstone? And I call it, and I keep calling this topic the touchstone, or because I always want to make sure that I always want to make sure that I know that I'm there, that I've included this. So I don't know why I call it the touchstone, but that's my story behind calling it the touchstone. I always want to make sure that, yep, I'm there. That's part of it. So if that resonates with you, that's why I call it the touchstone. You can call it whatever you want, but is it included? Yeah, I've touched it. Yep, it's there. Yep, check.
At the recent Black Lives Matter protest march, over 1,000 people showed up, and I realized that there's a lot of interest in these issues, not just police brutality, but just equality and the incipient racism also in Fairfield, which even on my street, East Lawn, we've had incidents that are just surprising and shocking. And I just wanted.
It's a daily, whatever. It's everybody's got a different way of. I've asked Scott, by the way, if our next working group, and I've dedicated myself to trying to find a facilitator of some sort to help us. If we can make our next working group be this topic. Ooh. If that's an uncomfortable topic, then you wouldn't participate in that. But I would.
Better you would.
Well, yeah, maybe. But you know, I would hope that it's okay that we make this a very let me just say that sustainability, we're the Sustainability Task Force, and sustainability is people, planet, and profits, and this is the focus of this movement is people. We're focusing on people. I want to make sure that we focus on all of the people, whatever that is to all of us. I don't know what that is. I want everyone to bring that out.
How about we the people?
No, I don't want to go, I don't want to even like, whatever, you know, I don't want to have pat phrases, but let's just, you know.
How about power to the people?
If I could just
at our next working group meeting.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if I could just piggyback on what Mary's saying, I've been having a lot of discussions about racism, like more than I've ever wanted to ever discuss about racism. It is burdensome because I also work and I have like a normal, regular working life. But I'm also a member of the Quaker meeting in Wilton. We have these discussions also about, we've been talking about abolitionists and all sorts of things. I've also been talking to a couple of other groups, but I won't go on because I think we need to end. But one of the things I'd like to suggest is that this book, White Fragility, I'm reading it, and I know a lot of people right now who are reading this book. Prior to having these discussions, I think it's just so important to really tune into a book like this, because a lot of these discussions, we come to it on both sides with a lot of unconscious biases, and it doesn't make the discussion meaningful. That's just been my experience, and I just really want to share that, because a lot of time gets eaten up because a lot of us are not educated on the systematic issue of racism. Not just one incident here and there, not just George Floyd, but just knowing historically, like, why people are upset or having a difficult time dealing with these issues. So I just, you know, I'm just plugging that book because I'm reading it too, because I think it's helpful for me to understand a more overall view of what's going on. Not just from
Elise, I appreciate you suggesting that. I have that on my table downstairs to read next, and I just finished The New Jim Crow is another great book by Michelle Alexander, right? And then How to Be an Anti-Racist. Anti-racist?
Yes,
by help me out, Zoe. Kendry.
Ibram Kendi, yeah. And one other thing to just piggyback off of that, there actually is a massive amount of intersection between these two movements, and I'm happy to send over some resources, but there's a lot of research that shows that a lot of the kind of negative impacts of climate change disproportionately affect Black and Brown communities. So it is important as a predominantly white community in Fairfield and Fairfield County at large to keep that in mind, that as much as it's good to make our own town more sustainable, it is definitely our responsibility to also help out communities that, you know, are suffering the effects of climate change. So it's everybody's job.
And I want to give kudos to Larry, who basically started this committee because of that. So we started there with this whole concept in mind. So we've been fighting that fight, and
Yeah.
that's,
So Mary, you made a proposal that our next working group, which is on July 24th, dive into this issue. And I guess I would like to add on that to the extent that we can also do some brainstorming on what could be actionable as associated, as it associates to our climate justice module that we're planning to embark upon. I think that would be hopefully a good tie-in for this committee, and we could cover both topics in the hour. Does that sound okay?
It's good. Good start.
All right. Is there any other new business or any other items before we adjourn?
I sent everybody an email, or as many people as I had on my list, about Plastic Free July. I didn't know if anyone was doing it. I think it deserves mention. It's very hard to do. I've been doing it for a week now, and it's very tough, but it's worth the effort. So I sent the link to the website and wish you all luck. But I was gonna say we should do a news item on it if you wanted to, but.
I forgot to mention that the Wilton Go Green is having that microplastics movie and panel, and I will send out that to everybody.
Okay, thanks.
So maybe, do you think it's worth a news item? We could just double up on news items, or no?
We can talk about that offline.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, one last thing while I'm mentioning meetings. Technically speaking, we would be, I believe, allowed to have these meetings face-to-face. If you feel like I plan to continue them virtual. That's my comfort zone. If anyone feels like we should really be meeting face-to-face, please let me know. But I think let's discuss that offline.
No.
I'm happy.
Not yet.
No.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
We're good this way.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
I just wanted to acknowledge that the state would allow it, but I don't think anyone's comfortable here. So. Good.
So one other piece to add, I guess, under new business. I think people may have heard the news, but apparently there's a trio of actors in town. Bradley Cooper, Brad Pitt, and Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, are all staying at a house in Fairfield. And
I know
Leonardo DiCaprio is quite a climate activist, big time. And, they're going to be here for a while. Not saying I'm going to get the guy, but let's keep our ears open. If anybody lets Leo know that there's a Sustainable Fairfield Task Force happening on Zoom next month. And if he wants to meet in person, maybe we'll all meet in person. But
he's big on he's supporting lab-grown diamonds a lot right now because of the blood diamond.
Yeah.
And I know this because I'm from the jewelry industry as well. I'm a gemologist too. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Blood Diamond was one of his best movies too.
Yeah. He's a huge supporter of this diamond, lab-grown diamond company in California called Diamond Foundry. They make lab-grown, which is they're real diamonds, but that's another conversation I'll share.
All right, so you'll get them on the Zoom call.
I don't know where to find them.
Welcome aboard, Elise. That's
you're gonna get John Mayer first, Phil.
Well, I think we're gonna go right to Leo. I think, but maybe we'll get them both. So anyway, you never know.
I've got to make a plea to end the meeting.
Accepted. Seconded.
This is the longest meeting we've ever had, but you guys are wonderful.
You can only make the plea if you have a hat on.
I can't do this. We have to stop now.
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, guys.
We'll have the meeting on the 24th as planned.
Okay.
What
Have a
time
great
on
evening.
what time on the 21st?
It's 8:15 a.m.
Okay. Oh, sorry. No, you said August 12th.
Oh, on August 12th, it is 7:00 p.m., just like this meeting.
Got it. Okay.
That's our regular. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you.